Welcome to the Zoom etiquette class. I'm excited that you're here. We're going to go over a few things really quickly for your club and understanding what it means to use Zoom in a way that is most beneficial for you to look professional and to have great sound and light quality. But remember, all of this is going to mean absolutely nothing if we are unable to download Zoom and get it working on our phones or our computer before our meeting. Welcome to Scientifically Speaking Toastmasters Club. My name is Kimberly Joy Morgan, and I am so happy that you're here. We are excited that you're going to join us on this Zoom call, but we want to make sure you know how to log on. First, we want you to either download the Zoom app for your iPhone or Android, but that's not the best way that you're going to be able to interact with us, just with all the features that Zoom has to offer. So take some time to download Zoom to your computer, and that's by going to zoom.us. And where you see sign up, it's free. Go ahead and do that and create an account. Once you've done that, head on back to this Toastmasters group or website, should I say, and you'll want to go to find a club. And on that, you will type in Jupiter, Florida, which will take you to our club, Scientifically Speaking, or another club for that matter. And you'll want to click on Visit This Website. Once you've done that, you'll see where it says click here on Friday after 11:30, and that's a.m. Eastern Standard Time. But I want you to remember this number right here, 33458 hashtag or pound for those of us who are a little bit older. So once you've done that, you'll be able to get into the meeting. That 33458 is the password. And once again, if you've downloaded the software to your computer, all you have to do is actually click here and it'll say, do you want to open in Zoom US? And I would say yes. And then at that point, I'd be in the meeting, except for it's going to ask me for that password. So I hope this has been extremely helpful for you. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. See you on Friday. Welcome to Science. So now that you know how to navigate the Zoom app or the website on your computer, let's talk about what matters once you get onto Zoom. Number one, your camera angle matters. How do you see yourself showing up on the screen? So you can see right here, I even have a live example for you. What's in my background? What's happening? So as you can see here, I have three types of angles. If my computer is too low, meaning the camera on my computer is too low, it's going to shoot up and it's going to actually make you look heavier. It's going to usually not be the most flattering of angles that you might want. Eye level is really great. So I have a little green dot on my computer and I try to make sure that that's as pretty close to eye level as possible so that I'm looking directly into the camera when I'm speaking during my presentation or if I am just talking to a friend via a Zoom meeting. And then the third example is when it's too high, and that's when you've elevated it too high on a desk or your chair is too low. You'll just need to make those slight adjustments. And sometimes it's just as simple as putting a book or something underneath your computer or getting a stand for your phone. Lighting is key. And I believe that everyone who uses Zoom on a regular basis, especially as a professional, should have a ring light or some type of photography lighting that's very helpful to give you that front light in case you don't have a window that you can sit directly in front of. So if you have lighting that's too light, now I don't think that example number one is too light. I was just trying to give you an idea of when it can be washed out, where you have too much light. And I'm actually going to adjust my ring light right now for you to see what it almost looks like when the ring light is too hot, or what we call has too much brightness. So you see how it's really, really bright. My face is almost washed out. We don't want that. And it's also very difficult to do a presentation with yourself in that type of lighting. So I'm going to take it and I'm going to turn it back down once again. And it's just enough light so that people can truly see my face. I might even make it just a tad bit brighter right there. So that's one of the best ways that you can get some great light. The other is too dark, and that's when you may have a window behind you. And you can see that I have kind of two windows in my background. There's one and there's another. And if I were to turn lights off and only have that light behind me, it would present what you see right here in the too dark area region of that image in front of us. So just be mindful of that when you're lighting yourself going forward in your meetings. The next type is the types of light. So you can have a ring light. You can also have natural light, which you can when you're sitting in front of a window, and that's always the best, honestly. Or you can do photography lights. And all of these, besides the natural light, of course, the ring light and the photography lights can be found on Amazon for a reasonable price. And it's great to pick one up, especially if you find yourself doing presentations for work or personal use. That ring light can be very, very helpful moving forward. Your background matters. What's behind you? Have you created a studio of sorts? Kind of like I have, where I have some sayings behind me that I enjoy. I try not to have my windows too bright behind me, and sometimes I'll even close them in the background. So that would be something that I would even say for myself in this framing, and I left it there intentionally so that you could see it's nicer sometimes when you just try to keep things balanced. So remember, you also don't want to be on your bed or in your pajamas if you're coming to a professional meeting. Now, if you're meeting with your family and friends, relax, enjoy, and have a great time. But be mindful as well that you're not backlit with too much behind you. Having something very simple is nice, but we don't want to be cluttered. That's the main thing. You don't want people to be distracted by what's going on behind you and trying to read what's going on your bookshelf. Green screens are very, very helpful. And that's especially helpful if you're using something called a virtual background. And we'll talk a little bit more about that as this video continues. But buying a green screen, a pop-up green screen, it doesn't have to be where you paint your walls green. You can just have this little pop-up banner that sits behind you, and it allows the virtual background to have something to adhere to so that you're not fading in and out. I know we've all been on those calls where someone has a virtual background and it looks like their ear has disappeared or their hair is gone. So you want to make sure that you get a green screen if you choose virtual backgrounds as a norm. You can also create your own studio, which is sort of what I've done behind me. And you can see that I try to make it appealing for individuals and as I'm on my call. But you don't want it to be too busy as well. And you don't want anything technically growing out of your head, so to speak, moving forward. So it's easier than you think, finding a blank wall and maybe putting a few beautiful pieces of artwork behind you or some flowers, plants. It all presents as a very beautiful background and not very hard to do. And then our famous virtual backgrounds. You want to keep them simple. We don't need to have palm trees blowing in the wind. A simple wall, a color, brick wall like you see here. Those are very easy backgrounds, and the green screen is extremely important to hold on to. Now, if you're doing something for a speech that requires a quirky background, that's okay, right? If you're saying you're out in outer space and you want an outer space background, then it works for that particular speech. But if not, keep your background simple and it will take your meeting further and your professionalism. The next thing we want to talk about, oops, that was correct, is number 4, our sound quality. If you have a great computer with a wonderful sound and wonderful built-in mic, then please, by all means, use that. However, if you don't, I advise that you pick up an external mic source. They're not very expensive, and once again, you can pick those up on Amazon as well. Or you can get a headset. And a lot of times the Apple AirPods and things as such have wonderful systems in which they will connect to your computer or your phone, and your sound quality and mic quality will be great. We also want to think about our clothing. Are we wearing colors that are way too loud? Are we wearing things that have patterns and stripes and polka dots in them that can be distracting? You want to think about what it is that you have on. And when you do that, you want to make sure that the camera doesn't have to do so much focusing in and out in order to hone in on you. So if you see our two candidates here, they're very professionally dressed. understated in their clothing. It's not too out of the box. So think about that for both men and women when you come to your Zoom meetings. And then 6, using the features of Zoom. What do you see that's off in this next video that you're going to be presented with? I want you to list the things that I do incorrectly in this video. Remember, maximizing the features of Zoom. We're going to talk about microphone, video, participant view, recording, and more. All right, here we go. Once you are able to get into your Zoom meeting, you will see something that looks a little bit like this. You will see that you have your Zoom camera on. Now, one thing I want to make sure that you're aware of is some of the things that I talked about that aren't good in this picture. So right now, my head is cut off, okay? So we don't want that. So either you're going to need to sit further back so that you have more of a good frame, or that you change where the camera is. Does it come up? Does it go down? What is it going to do? So I'm just going to scoot back in this as I talk to you. The other thing is you can see my ring light right here. This is also a no-no. We don't want a ring light in our background. And now I'm using, as you can see, kind of my own studio. Now, possibly I may shift some things in the background. You could put a plant in the back. You never know what can happen that you like. You can add things to your studio, but you don't want it to be too busy. So let's just remember that, okay? I'm gonna keep that. I wanted to keep that in the background just so that you could see some of the things that can become distractions as you are doing this. The other thing, you can also think about shifting pillows to the side. Do you like the balance of that? So just remember, when you come on Zoom, look at the actual screen and it will tell you whether or not you have set your camera up properly. Now I have a ring light on, so as you know, I can actually make this brighter. Which, does that help? Actually makes my skin look really bright. So I kind of want to take it down a notch, just a little bit. And while it gives me light on my face, it's not too much. And I'm all in frame. The next thing I want you to think about here is what's going on down here at the corner. So you have this little arrow. When you pop it up, you can see that there are things like select a microphone, all of that kind of good stuff is there. So sometimes if you want to check your audio, this is a good place to go. But we're going to go over here where it says stop video. And we don't want to stop it. We just want to hit that little up button and we want to choose virtual background. Now, here is where you can decide whether or not you want to create a virtual background. Remember I said if you have a green screen, then you're going to want to use that green screen in the background or another color screen where you won't see yourself coming in and out. And you can then select right here that you have a green screen. If I do it right now, it's going to be a bit awkward. So just know that you can do that. You can also think about picking things that are not too busy in the background. And you can import pictures as well by hitting this button here that allows you to add an image or add a video. So just know that those options are there for you. As well, take some time and explore your settings. We're not going to go over everything today. This would be an hour-long Zoom class if I did it, but just take some time to see general video, audio, sharing the screen, different options. Like if you go into share screen, you can see that there are different things that you can check on or off depending upon what you want to do or to have available for you. So I hope that that makes sense. Take time to look through your settings. The other thing I want you to think about here is participant. Now this participant view, it allows you to invite someone. And I know I'm hosting this meeting, so it might be different if you're in a participant view and you don't have that. But clicking on that will allow you to see on this side right here all the wonderful people that are on your Zoom call. That is important as well. You can also raise your hand, you can ask questions, you can also send information. Now, I can't do this presently to show you because I don't have an active meeting going on, But if you do that, you know, you can actually change who you're sending the message to just by clicking. If it says everyone, click on the little arrow beside that everyone, and then it will show you a drop down box that will give you names of people that you can pick from as to who you want to send a message to. Remember, when you come into meetings, you should come in muted at all times. That way, there's nothing strange that's happening and you can unmute yourself. If you just want to answer a question quickly and you don't want to unmute for a long period of time, you can hit your space bar, and that space bar will allow you to speak without actually hitting the unmute button. So if someone's asking a yes or no question or something that's going to take just a couple of seconds, you can just depress that space bar and you will have the opportunity to have your voice heard. I hope that makes sense. The other thing that you have here, if you are a host, you can record. So sometimes people might want to record the session that's happening if you're in an active meeting where notes need to be taken, or if there are people that are missing at the meeting, you can record as well. And then finally, in this area right here, I don't have my glasses on, reactions. All right, so with reactions, that's where you can give a thumbs up or a clap if someone says something great, because we don't want to interrupt when people are giving speeches or talking. So remember your features. You can raise your hand. You can actually physically raise your hand in the background as well. And another part of meetings that's very important, I say, is actually showing your camera. And once you are comfortable with your background, with your lighting, with your wardrobe, you'll want to show yourself off. But it is very imperative that people in this day and age, where we do not get to see individuals, that we're not just staring at empty screens and talking to names behind a black box or in front of a black box. So take time to think about your surroundings and what you have. And I promise you, Zoom meetings will take on a life that you will enjoy and love. You just give it a little bit of attention. I hope this has helped you. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. Thanks again. Bye-bye. All right. So do you have any questions at this time? If so, please reach out to your club's president or secretary, and we will be more than happy to help you. I hope that this has been helpful in your journey of understanding how to show up to a Zoom meeting with proper etiquette. Have a wonderful day and stay positive.